Hi, this is Ms. Jensen again. We are going to talk about law of cosines and Hero's formula. So law of cosines, we use that to find the measure of a side or an angle that's not a right triangle. And also we use it when we can't use the law of sines, because to tell you the truth, law of sines is easier. Then we're also going to look at Hero's formula. It's the way of finding the area of a triangle if you're given all three sides, and it's related to law of cosines. Okay, so this is the law of cosines. Kind of like before, you're given the same formula three different ways. On the left side is the side, on the right side is the angle. So you can see I underlined side C, angle C. Side A goes with cosine of angle A. Side B goes with cosine of angle B. So we use it again when it's not a right triangle and we're not given the angle on an opposite side. With Hero's formula, like I was just saying, we use it when we're given three sides. So we're going to do a law of sines where we're just finding cosines, where we're just finding a side. So whatever the side is we're looking for, we put the side here and we put the cosine of that angle opposite here. Okay? And then these are the other two sides. So the other two sides are 23 and 12. Now I know it says A first, then C. I don't really care if I put 12 first or 23 first, but I'm going to do 12, 23, 12, 23. You know, if you really like to follow the formula, you know, look up and down, well, A is 12, so you just plug it in. But then you're just going to put this whole thing into your calculator just as is, and you should get about 940.6. You're going to take the square root of both sides and round that to the nearest tenth. Okay? All right, now we're going to find a missing angle. So we're going to find angle B. This is a little bit harder just because of the order that we have to solve it in. It's not harder to plug it in. But notice this is the angle that they asked for, that I'm looking for. So remember, those are the two that I want to start with and end with. So I'm going to put 24 squared here, the angle that goes with it there. Okay? Then, so those are B's. This is going to be A, C. 2 times A, C. Or it could be CA. I don't really care what order it goes in. But across from A is 19. So these are the other two sides. 19, 22. 19, 22. So, you know, if you prefer a formula, since we're looking for B, this is the formula, right? And then since this is just A squared, C squared, 2AC. All right, you can just fill it in. So this is what's a little trickier about this one, is we can't just punch the whole thing in the calculator. We're going to punch these three parts into the calculator. So for 24 squared, I get 576. For 19 squared plus 22 squared, I get 845, and I get 836. And then this is the cosine of B. So this is one of the reasons people get a little messed up on this one, is they see 845 minus 836, and it's like, oh, it's 9 cosine b squared. Well, no, just like you wouldn't do 2 minus 3x is negative 1x, we wouldn't do that because those are not like terms. It's the same thing here. I would not do that because they are not like terms. I have to get the b by itself. So I'm going to subtract. And divide. That crosses off. And when I divide, I'm going to go out 3 places. So 269 divided by 836 is 0.3218. And in my calculator for angle B, I'm going to hit second cos. Notice when I hit second cos, I get close to the negative 1. And my calculator will say 71 degrees. Okay? All right. Look at solving one. So we'll solve one, and then I think we just have to do one for Hero's formula. So this solving takes a teeny bit of time, so we have to find 3 things. But I'll tell you, anytime you solve a triangle where you have to start out with law of cosines, you're pretty much going to use law of cosines once, law of cosines, then you're going to use law of sines, and then you're going to use sum equals 180. All right, let's see what this triangle looks like. So once again, I do not have a side across from an angle. So I have to use law of cosines. Now if I have to decide which one I'm going to use, since I'm given this angle, I'm going to look for side A first. I'm going to look for side A first. So I'll put A here and cosine, kind of stuck on sine here, cosine of 39 next. All right. So follow the formula of the other 2 sides. Since we're talking about A, I'm going to put the other 2 sides, B, which is 12, C, B, C. And luckily, we've got the easier of the 2 at least this time. We've got that going for us, where we can put that whole thing in our calculator and take the square root. That's supposed to be 78. I'm going to make that look a little nicer. 78.9. Take the square root of both sides. And A, rounded to the nearest 10th, is 8.9. Okay? So I'm going to go back and replace that with 8.9. So like I said, when we use law of cosines, we're going to have to solve a whole triangle, find all angles, all sides. Once I've used law of cosines, I shouldn't have to use it again, because after that I will be given an angle and an opposite side. So I'm going to take that sine of 39 over 8.9. And it doesn't matter which one I find next, it really doesn't. I may as well find angle C, doesn't matter. Sine of C over 14. Either A or C is fine to find next. So now we're going to use law of sines. So I'm going to cross multiply here, and I end up with 8.9 times sine of C equals 14 times sine of 39. Divide both sides by 8.9. And once again, I'm going to get kind of a funky decimal. I'm going to get a funky decimal. I don't know what it is right now, but then you're going to go second sine of that funky decimal, which I don't happen to have right here. But when you do second sine of that, you should get 83 degrees. So in other words, you're gonna get a decimal here. That's gonna go here and here. Okay, so that is your angle. Then for the last thing, you're just gonna go 180 minus 83 minus 39, and you should have your last side of 58. So angle B should be 58. Kind of a good thing to check is if you go back to the original, if this is 58, what did I say the other one was? Forgot already? 83. So, you know, if I want to just double check this, my biggest angle should be across from my longest side, which it is. My smallest angle, 39, should be across from my smallest side. Middle angle should be across from my middle side. So it's like, well, hopefully that means I did it right. Cross our fingers and we did it right. Okay, we're gonna do Hero's formula, which actually is pretty easy, okay? So we're gonna start out finding this funny S here, which is just half, so I'll go 0.5 of the three sides added together. So I don't care what order I put the sides in. I'm just going to add those together. Okay? So this is 0.5 of 250. I calculated the inside. And S is going to be 125. And that is what I'm going to use in here. Okay? Now notice I don't have any A, B, or C here. I really don't care because with Hero's formula, it doesn't really matter what the order is. So we're going to go a bunch of subtraction signs in here. And notice all the S's. This is S, 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 S. Remember, S is 125. 125, 125. And then these are my sides. Doesn't matter what order I put it in. 71, 84, 95. And now I'm just going to calculate that. So one of the important things is that you do everything underneath the square root first. So I'm going to calculate each of the parentheses. 125 minus 71 is 54. Then we get 41, and then we get 30. Okay? I will put all of that into my calculator. So 125 times 54 times 41 times 30. I get a really big number. I know it's really big, but we got a calculator. Take the square root of that, and we get 2,881.4 units squared. And again, remember that is an area. So we are able to use that if we're given three sides and nothing else. Normally area we would do base times height divided by 2. Well, of course, we don't know what the height is. So this is something we can use. So this is actually related to law of cosines, which is why we do it at the same time. All right, that's it for today.